Hey y'all, you ready to take a reading screener? You're probably like, no, you're gonna be fine, I promise. In this video, we're gonna go over screener expectations, how to actually get to your screener in the portal, what to click on to take it, and then you guys will actually be taking your reading screener. In the background, you'll probably hear some school bells as well as Miss Houston announcing the sixth graders. That's right, the sixth graders need to go to their classes. They're on campus today, sort of doing like a mock run to like their first classes, and it's very amusing. So I might have to pause in a little bit for that. Okay, so screener. Why do we actually do the screener? So we do the screener as a way for not only for your teachers to see where you're at as far as reading and vocabulary go, but also for you to see. We do this so we can set goals and make plans to bump you up. Whether you're reading at a third grade level, a fifth grade level, an eighth grade level, or an 11th grade level, we're going to be setting goals to help you out. Your teachers can also see some really helpful ways to meet you where you are at to specifically get that bumped up throughout the year. It's really cool from the data standpoint, not from the taking the test standpoint, sorry. So what is it exactly? The reading screener is an online test. It's an adaptive test, meaning that everybody's test looks different. We might all start on the same first question, maybe, and then based on if we get it right or wrong, it'll take us to a different question. You and I could be taking the same reading screener, getting the same questions right or wrong, and still end up with different questions. So if you answer a question right, the questions usually get harder. If you answer a question wrong, the questions usually stay the same or get easier. Ideally, you want your questions to be so hard by the end of your screener that you have no idea what's going on. Another thing you need to know about your screener, the first 7 questions are the most important questions to get right. Those are going to determine sort of the range of your reading scores. So really take your time on those first 7 questions more than anything else and try to get those right. The idea is that by the time you get to the 5th or 6th question, they should be very difficult. That's a good thing. We like that when they're difficult, then you just make your best guess, okay? The champs. Okay, so conversation. If you are currently, these are more for students that are in person right now taking this, but everybody is going to hear them. So conversation, there is no conversation during the screener or after the screener, because we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to take the screener in silence, right? And we're being respectful of our classmates around us so that they have that fair chance to concentrate too. If you have a question, if you are in person, obviously just raise your hand and your teacher will be right over. If you are at home, then please shoot your teacher a Canvas message ASAP or an email and we'll get you taken care of. So the next one is activity. Today you're taking your reading screener on your own. You should not be asking your parents or any friends for help on questions because this is a measure of where you are at. Your score isn't going to be taken on what you get right and wrong today. So don't worry about it being like a normal test score. So just do your best. Movement. In the classroom, we're staying in our assigned seats. You guys are basically just staying there. If you need something, let me know, sort of like the STAR test. At home, please find a quiet place free of distractions and let those around you know that you're taking a test. Try to take the test all in one go because it is timed. Participation, working on the test actively. Okay, so when you are finished at school, because we are staying silent, you will need to either read silently or work on any missing work since we do have grades coming up that are due on well, actually, that's tomorrow now, so that are due tomorrow. Sorry, guys, at school, if you finish the screener early, it is not free time. So I shouldn't see you playing on your Chromebook or on your phone. You should either be reading or working on missing work. Those are your options. Expectations while you're testing. We just went over all of this. If you want to pause the video to scan this really fast, you can, but these are basically those champs. And we're going to go ahead and run through going to the screener. So in a nutshell, what you guys are going to do, I don't think we need any more of those. Oh, there's Miss Houston. Okay, give me just a sec.
Time to dismiss from second period and go to third period. And just a reminder, in case the bells are confusing anyone, ignore the bells. Ignore the bells, only release with me. See everybody in third period.
Okay, so you guys are going to need to go to your portal and click on the icon for the Renaissance. for Renaissance 360. That's our star. That's our star like reading screener. You guys might have a thing that pops up that asks you to choose a password, question, and answer. If you do, go ahead and do that real fast. Then it's going to pop up with a little box in the middle of your screen that's going to say log in with Active Directory, Clever, all this stuff. You're going to click this little button that has the multicolored windows where it says log in with Active Directory. Then it's going to pop up with this thing. You got lots of choices. You guys are going to be clicking on the STAR reading test. The STAR reading test is what we're taking. Early literacy is like learning your letters. Don't do it. Yeah, you could take the STAR math test, but then I won't get your reading test and you'll get a 0 and it will be really sad. That may or may not have happened to a student last year. I didn't really give them a 0. I just gave them a hard time and then they took the test. So make sure you click STAR reading and then it'll pop up with one more thing. You'll get to choose what type of test after that, depending on the way your Renaissance looks. Again, we are taking the reading test. So make sure to click on STAR reading or take the reading test. After that, everything's going to pop up. You may have some practice questions that pop up. It'll say practice, or you might just jump right to it. I do have a script really fast that I want to run through some of this important stuff. It's kind of cool. You get to see behind the scenes of what we'd be saying. Okay, so today you will be taking a test called STAR Reading. It's a reading test that has fill in the blank and short answer questions. There are 34 questions on the test. Don't worry, if someone finishes the test before you, every test is different. So some people's might be shorter and some people's might be longer. So some of the questions are going to be really easy. Some will be more challenging. Please don't worry about how many questions you think you get right or how many you think you might get wrong. Because it's an adaptive test, the harder you try, the more challenging the questions get, which is good. Again, you want that. By the time your questions are getting challenging, your reading level is getting higher and higher for where you're at. So it's okay to miss questions, just do your best. Once you move on from a question, you can't go back. So make sure that that's the answer you want for that question. You also need to know that at the top of your screen while you're testing, your questions are timed. It doesn't want to know how fast you click on a question. It just means you have limited time to answer a question. So if you see a picture of a clock pop up at the top of the screen, that means that you almost are out of time for that question. When it starts blinking, you really need to just make your best choice and move on. If you don't click on the answer and the clock comes on, and that question goes away, it'll automatically count it wrong. So before the clock completely times out, it's better to make your best guess in case you might get it right. Okay, so you want to avoid the thing that says time's up for that question. Try to at least have one answer chosen before that question goes away. So when you finish the test, you'll have a message that says when you finish the test, you'll need to read a book quietly. You may not continue to use the computer for other activities. So this isn't just a champ or expectation for our classroom. This is district-wide. There are a few reasons for that I'm not going to get into because I want to keep this video short. But basically, you do need to be off of your devices and either reading a book. You can rest. Or you can like draw at your desk, work on something from earlier, but it looks like they don't want you on your computer at all. So I guess maybe we can't work on stuff from earlier in the week. That'll depend on what I find out or what your teacher finds out from the district there. So you'll have to ask us. Expectation right now is that computer is closed and phone is away when you finish. Okay, we already went through all this. Okay, so if you have any questions about the test before you take it and you're at home, please send a message to your teacher. If you're in school, raise your hand, we'll be there. You don't need a monitor password. Not anymore. We used to have to type in the word admin. You don't need that anymore. It got removed. Okay, it's saying that if you haven't taken the test in a while, you might have some practice questions. Okay, so if you need to pause to use the restroom, if you have to leave the room unexpectedly, this is whether you're at home or in school, you're gonna need to click stop test in the upper right-hand corner. If you just leave your test to go to the bathroom and come back, it will keep timing out your questions and counting them wrong, and you'll have to redo your test, which like it tells me that. So your teacher can actually see how long you've spent on the test, how long you spent on certain questions, how quickly after a question popped up, you answered it. So did the student even read it? I can tell you right now, guys, if your time looks wonky, like off, then your teacher is going to ask you to retake the test. And I don't think anybody here wants to retake a 34 question test. Just saying. So make sure that you try your hardest on the first go. Let us know if you have questions. If you have questions during the screener, hit that stop test and send us a message or ask us. You should not be asking anybody at home about the content because we want to see where you're at. All right, that's it. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Next time we take a screener, this will be super, super fast and easy. Bye for now. Good luck.